Hi, my name is Gutmann. I cover North Carolina. I'm here with Steve Wiseman, who covers Duke. And welcome to Our Game, a video production by the Durham Herald-Sun, where we talk about our game in the state of North Carolina, which is college basketball. A lot to get to with Duke and North Carolina, both hosting games this weekend. But let's look back first. Duke won its first true road game on Wednesday night at Miami. What was impressive about that performance for you?
Yeah, I mean, they had not shown they could go on the road in a hostile environment. They'd won games away from Cameron on neutral sites, but to go down to Miami and a place where they had to kind of exercise some demons from that really embarrassing 27-point loss last year. It's a completely different Miami team now, but they came out and really, showed that same intensity level that they've been showing for the last 2 or 3 games here. They once again look like a top 10 team in the country.
Yeah, and North Carolina was kind of the opposite. They went up to Virginia on Monday and looked like anything but a top 10 team. I mean, that game it wasn't even a game in the second half. Once again, the problems, it started with the offense. Now, not scoring against Virginia isn't a crime. There's a lot of teams that can't score against Virginia. But it's really been a month-long pattern with the Tar Heels. They haven't beaten a winning team since Kentucky, which was mid-December. And it starts on the offensive end. They can't really score in the half court. As a result, they try and generate easy points like transition, but they can't really turn teams over. And they've been able to run out on breaks. They can't get to the free throw line. They haven't been aggressive enough there. And when they do get there, they can't make them. So really, it's been a struggle. Now, last year, when they couldn't, it was a struggle on offense. They put P.J. Harrison in the lineup. This year, Roy tried something like that. He tried putting Leslie McDonald in as shooting guard, which also allowed Marcus Page to go back to point guard, which was his natural position. It hasn't quite worked out. Leslie's still in the kind of a prolonged shooting slump right now. And Marcus, even though he's back at his natural position, he has to run the team, be the primary scoring option, guard the opposing point guard. It's a lot for one guy to take, and it hasn't really been working out, especially with teams keying their defense around him. So now looking ahead, like I said, both teams hosting games this weekend. Duke's got Florida State coming in. What are you looking for there?
Yeah, the Florida State game on Saturday, quick turnaround
Right.
at Pittsburgh on Monday night, and then next weekend they'll play at Syracuse. So these are 3 very tough games for Duke to play. We know Florida State likes to play aggressive defense, very physical, and some of the key to this turnaround for Duke has been increased depth. He's been going deeper on the bench with the 5-in, 5-out situation, which has led to better defense, and the defense has been fueling the offense, which is what we kind of thought Duke would do when the season started with the construction of this roster. So we have to see if they can keep this up, especially against better teams. I mean, Pittsburgh is going to be a little better than the teams they've played the last 2 games out, and then Syracuse next weekend obviously will be too. I know Carolina has a big game with Clemson this weekend. For historical purposes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Duke's schedule is getting harder. UNC's kind of reached the easier portion of their schedule. They have Clemson and then Maryland and NC State, and also Georgia Tech is their next 4. So you think that it's some easier games, although I'm sure opponents are looking at UNC the same way, like this is our chance to win some games too. But yeah, like you mentioned, the historical part of UNC-Clemson, 56 games in Chapel Hill. Clemson's never won. They're 0-56. Now, UNC's had some bad losses this year, but this would be an absolute historical loss.
Yes.
And you hesitate to think about what would happen to this team, but mentally and everything else. If they lose this one, it would be a national story if Clemson came in and won. So this is a really big game for UNC, not only for NCAA tournament purposes and everything else, but just we talked about it before. The 8-20 Carolina team still beat Clemson at home. The NIT team in 2010, they still beat Clemson at home. They still found a way. So you would think that this team could do it too, as much as they've struggled so far. So there you have it. Thank you guys for watching our game, and we'll be back next week to talk about this week's action.